As humans, we constantly communicate with one another. And as social media grows, our communication only increases. Many of us are virtually in constant communication with others. And that poses a question for us. Does it matter what I say on social media? Really, what does God have to say, if anything, about how I use my words on social media or through texting, through posting on Facebook, or what I post on Twitter? What does God think about these things? Now, it might surprise you to know that although the Bible was written long before the internet, God has a lot to say about how we use our words in social media. In fact, here's the first point we need to understand. God cares about all our words, even the digital ones. The Bible makes it very clear that God cares about how humans use their words. God cares about how we relate to each other in speech. But God doesn't just care about our verbal communication, but God cares about our digital communication too. In fact, I think we find this illustrated in Ephesians 4:29. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Now, when this verse was written 2,000 years ago, of course, no one knew that texting was going to be a thing. No one knew that phones were going to be a thing. Certainly, no one knew that Facebook was going to be a thing. But certainly, the same truths that apply to human communication when two people are in the same room applies to the standards of communication that we should have when we go online. The same way that we think about talking to somebody in a conversation is the same way we should think about talking to someone through Facebook, through Twitter, through Snapchat, people that we text, or the things that we say about people online should mirror the way we would talk about somebody even in a conversation. And so all this is leading to the fact that, God really cares about the words that we say, even our digital words. Maybe you don't put a lot of thought into the words you use online, but God does. And that leads us to our second point. Digital words are just as real as the words you speak. Now, just from observing how a lot of people use social media, I guarantee you that people say stuff on social media that they would never say to a person in a real conversation. They would never say to a person face to face. And let me just say, this isn't how it should be. Because our digital words are just as real as our real words, as our words spoken in communication and conversation. Digital words have the power to hurt. Digital words have the power to destroy relationships. Digital words have the power to tear people down and just make them feel miserable. And so you need to understand that your digital words are real words. You can't just think, well, I'm just saying something about somebody that, it's a joke. Everyone will get that. You need to understand that words are powerful. Words hurt. That's what the Bible says. That's what real experience says. And our social media words, although we may not put a lot of thought into them, they're just as powerful as our real words. And here's a little truth, a little side truth, is that our social media words never go away. Once you put something on Facebook, once you put something on Twitter, even once you text something, you can't ever really get it back. And so we used to always say this, that, once you speak something, once you say something, you can't ever get those words back. And social media just makes that even truer. So you need to understand that digital words, those are real words with real power. And so as a result, here's the last thing that you need to know. Your posts, texts, and tweets should build others up. The Bible says that you should use your words to help others, to build them up, to encourage them. And so when we think about posting on Facebook and tweeting, we should be thinking about how can we encourage people. If you're a Christian, you should say, how can I honor God through social media? How can I help other people? That doesn't mean that you'll never send someone a text that has some hard truth, because the Bible says, we need to speak the truth in love. Sometimes you need to communicate difficult truths to people to encourage them, to convict them of sin. But we should make it our goal that our words online should encourage people. Certainly if you're a student, you need to begin to practice this, because a lot of students use social media to tear down fellow students or tear down other people. But even if you're an adult, there are a lot of adults who tear down each other on social media. And the Bible says if you're a Christian, God cares about what you say and what you write and what you tweet. God is listening, and He desires that you understand the power of your words and you use your words to build each other up.